The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
And Governor Gavin Newsom announced a state of emergency for California yesterday over the monkeypox outbreak following Illinois and New York. The declaration is designed to help expand vaccinations and outreach efforts. More than 800 people have been diagnosed with monkeypox so far here in California. The state has administered 25,000 doses of the vaccine and plans to make additional doses available in the coming days. As of last week, the state had expanded its testing capacity to process more than 1,000 tests every week. The strain of monkeypox circulating now is often sexually transmitted. 98% of California monkeypox cases are in men and 97% in people who identify as gay, lesbian, or bisexual. Here locally, Kern Public Health is hosting a monkeypox vaccination event on Sunday. It will take place at the Public Health Services Building at 1800 Mount Vernon Avenue from 11 a.m. till 4 p.m. Vaccines are free, but you must be at least 18 to get one. To find out if you're eligible or to make an appointment, visit kernpublichealth.com/monkeypox.
The Kern County Coroner is working to identify yet another body pulled from the Kern River this weekend, marking the 7th person killed by the river so far this year. 6 of the 7 people who've died in the Kern River this year were out-of-town visitors from Southern California. Even with warnings about the dangers of the river, travelers continue to visit and swim.
You're from LA, so it's like coming here is just kind of to like relax before school, before work, all that. It's like to kind of relax, and then the heat, especially here, we saw it was going to be really hot today. So we're like, well, why not? And so it's like you only live once, so.
Kern County Search and Rescue says seemingly calm areas can still be dangerous, and it's important to always wear a life vest if you plan on swimming.
Police are asking for your help finding 3 missing runaway teens. 17-year-old Krista Ray Allen was last seen July 25th in the 7000 block of Auburn Street. Allen is described as 6 feet tall, 120 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes.
17-year-old Samara Martinez is another runaway. She was last seen July 25th in the 500 block of Monterey Street. She's 5'4", 130 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. She was wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt and multicolored sweats.
Also missing 14-year-old Isabeau Todd. She was last seen last night in the 6000 block of Golden Sunset Court. Todd is 5'5", 115 pounds with blonde hair and blue eyes. She was wearing a white shirt, blue jeans, and black and white Vans. If you have any information on the 3 missing teens, call police at 327-7111.
5:05 is your time now. An update on the McKinney Fire raging out of control in Siskiyou County. The flames have burned more than 85 square miles in the Klamath National Forest near the California-Oregon border. It's the state's largest wildfire this year, with over 55,000 acres burned. The fire erupted Friday. Thousands of people have had to be evacuated. Officials say the region's historic drought and dry vegetation have led to this climate change crisis and more wildfires.
10 years, we've definitely seen a lot more rapid fire growth, intense fires that are burning through communities like we haven't seen really in the past.
Officials say it's too early to determine the extent of damages, but that numerous homes have been destroyed. More than 2 million people remain under red flag warnings right now across Northern California. The fire is still 0% contained as of the last update. Yesterday, fire crews confirmed 2 people have died in the fire.
We're also keeping an eye on the fire that's burning near the Yosemite National Park, and there is some good news there. Containment on the Oak Fire is now at 74%. CAL FIRE says flames had burned more than 19,000 acres since that fire began over a week ago. Although crews are making progress fighting the Oak Fire, some evacuation orders are still in place. So definitely some good news. Anytime we have a wildfire in California, it's always uncertain where it's going to go and how big it's going to get. When it's near Yosemite, though, I think a lot of people, of course, get a little more concerned because that is just such a beautiful place up there. But it's definitely good to see that there's a lot of containment out there.
Yeah, that's great news.
Fox 17 News is your local election headquarters, and local leaders are trying to drum up support for the county's 1-cent sales tax measure. The first of many workshops was held last night at the NOR Veterans Hall building in Oildale. As we've reported, county supervisors last month voted to put the measure on the November ballot. If approved by voters, the sales tax in unincorporated parts of the county will go from 7.25% to 8.25%. Leaders say they want to make sure voters understand the benefits.
We're going to over 20 different locations all over Kern County, the unincorporated parts of Kern, so we're not spending time in cities. This is really about unincorporated residents. We are their local government at all levels, so we want to hear from them.
Oil and gas industry.
Another workshop is scheduled for 6 p.m. Thursday at Stockdale Country Club. If you can't make it in person, officials say they're planning to hold several virtual workshops in the near future.
The newest students at Georgetown University are inmates from nearby prisons in Maryland. The Georgetown Prisons and Justice Initiative lets prisoners earn bachelor's degrees while behind bars. CNBC's Shamari Stone was there when classes started.
This program absolutely gives me hope. It lets me know that there is light at the end of this tunnel.
Dorian Grogan has been in prison for the last 17 years, serving a 42-year sentence after pleading guilty to armed carjacking and kidnapping.
I heard an innocent person, someone that had no reason to be hurt.
He's one of 25 inmates selected statewide by Georgetown University based on academic preparation and the ability to succeed in a rigorous college program.
I feel elated. I'm happy that I can represent my family on one end.
Right now, Grogan is taking philosophy and statistics courses, working towards a social science degree.
And how does a program like this help with recidivism?
It creates opportunity, creates change, creates a pathway to change. We know we can go and look at all the data that tells us an individual that leaves our system with an education is 46% less likely to return.
The program's director says he believes higher education in prison helps public safety.
95% of people in prison will come home one day. And my question is, how do we want them to be? Do we want them to be people who are simply just angry and stewing and violent and getting into trouble in prison? Or do we want them to be people who turned a corner?
I won't be in prison forever. And when I do arrive home, I want to be better. That way I can contribute to society rather than take away from it.
Each one of those accomplishments helps you have the greater confidence to do the next.
Shamari Stone reporting. In state news this morning, 3 of California's largest cities could soon provide safe drug injection sites if Governor Newsom pins it into law. The bill has been approved by the state Senate and now heads to the governor's desk for approval. The bill would authorize safe injection sites where people can use illicit drugs under supervision in the cities and counties of San Francisco and Los Angeles, as well as the city of Oakland. Then Governor Jerry Brown vetoed a similar bill 4 years ago. Now to news from across the world, and reaction continues to pour in this morning after President Biden's announcement that the U.S. has killed the world's most wanted terrorist. A weekend drone attack taking out the leader of al-Qaeda more than 2 decades after he planned the 9/11 attacks on Washington and the World Trade Center. Jay Gray has more from Capitol Hill.
Good morning, Alex. Good morning, Maddie. Look, the mission spanned several months, the strike coming over the weekend, and there are indications this morning it came as al-Qaeda may have been laying the groundwork for another attack targeting the U.S.
Justice has been delivered, and this terrorist leader is no more.
The president confirming a U.S. drone strike that killed al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri, fulfilling a promise made 2 decades earlier from the smoking rubble of the 9/11 attacks.
The people who knocked these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
Al-Zawahiri was the primary architect of the deadliest terror attack on American soil. He was Osama bin Laden's personal doctor and chief advisor, taking control of al-Qaeda after bin Laden was killed by U.S. forces. And according to the former director of the CIA, he was actively targeting the U.S. at the time of his death.
Zawahiri was in the process of pushing out some additional videos calling for attacks against Americans. It suggests to me that he was looking to restart his terrorist activities.
The mission to take out al-Zawahiri included weeks of surveillance and a precision hit with no civilian casualties, all carried out entirely from the air, almost a year after the president's controversial decision to pull U.S. forces out of Afghanistan.
And I made a promise to the American people that we continue to conduct effective counterterrorism operations in Afghanistan and beyond. We've done just that.
President Biden stressing those counterterrorism operations will continue to be a top priority of his administration. Now, in a written statement, the Taliban-led government in Afghanistan, quote, strongly condemns the attack, calling it a violation of international principles. In Washington, Jay Gray, 17 News.
Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy praised our military and intelligence community for the terrorist killing, but also was critical of the president. In a statement, McCarthy said, in part, this news also sheds light on the possible reemergence of al-Qaeda in Afghanistan following President Biden's disastrous withdrawal a year ago.
Also in news from across the world, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is overseas on a highly anticipated trip to Asia this week. But it is a potential stop to Taiwan that has the U.S. military on high alert. Beijing says a visit by Pelosi would be considered interference in their internal affairs. Though President Biden did not tell Pelosi to skip her Taiwan visit, there are some concerns it would worsen tensions between the U.S. and China.
There is nothing unusual about this, and it's quite frankly disconcerting that the Chinese might use this as some sort of pretext to actually increase the tensions.
Taiwan is an independent, sovereign nation. If Speaker Pelosi wants to go there and travel there, she ought to go there.
Speaker Pelosi will head to Malaysia next. Her public schedule also has her visiting South Korea and Japan.
And now to the latest on the January 6th investigation. New documents obtained by the January 6th committee show a request for Secret Service text messages was later withdrawn. Secret Service text messages sent around the day of the Capitol riot were requested by the Department of Homeland Security's watchdog agency in February 2021. But an email between officials from DHS from 5 months later rescinded that request. Those text messages were later found to have been deleted by the time the committee requested them last month. Secret Service officials have said the messages were wiped as part of a planned phone systems migration.
A Texas man has gotten the longest prison sentence yet in the January 6th Capitol attack. A federal judge sentenced Guy Wesley Reffitt to over 7 years in prison. The 49-year-old is a member of the far-right militia group, the Texas 3 Percenters. He was armed with a pistol, zip-tie handcuffs, and was wearing body armor that day. Reffitt is one of 7 Capitol attack defendants to face a jury trial, and all were convicted. Welcome back in your health news now, and a new study finds that stress during the pandemic likely led to problematic media use by children. Researchers from the University of Washington analyzed a nationally representative sample of parents in the U.S. with at least one child ages 6 to 17 from October to November 2020. They found that nearly a third of children were engaged in problematic media use. Those individuals were becoming addicted to media use that led to social, behavioral, or academic issues. The results of the survey suggest that children with parents who experienced more psychological distress had notably higher problematic media use. Harmful media use was more common among those ages 11 to 17.
A local teenager is the youngest recipient in what's known as CalSeed. It's a grant program to help California clean energy startups bring their concepts and prototypes to market. So, in his parents' garage in southwest Bakersfield, Anahat Satay is working on the project that he hopes could one day change the way produce is shipped around the world. 17's Chris Burton has his story.
In the corner of a garage in southwest Bakersfield, Anahat Satay is designing the future of refrigeration. He has plenty of time to spend on it now that he's graduated high school.
I am just 18, meaning I have a lot more time to burn.
Satay, under his company name Modulium, is working on a multi-tiered cooling system to help refrigerate and ship produce cheaply and efficiently. His project is now getting a $150,000 funding jumpstart, thanks to the California Sustainable Energy Entrepreneur Development Initiative, or CalSeed.
this grant is like a blessing that has come to his temperament. I think this is a perfect setting for him.
Raised in Bakersfield, Satay has seen firsthand the challenges farmers and shippers face. Modulium isn't just a pet project, it's Satay's drive to lift up those around him.
If I'm helping someone, if I'm making an impact, it's not like I'm shipping off a product to someone 1,000 miles away and I'm calling them and they say, "Oh, thank you. This is really great." And as nice as that is, it's not the same as like walking to them, seeing them at the farmer's market and seeing that they're interested in the idea or seeing that they're thinking about how they can use it.
Satay, just 17 when he accepted the grant, is the youngest recipient in the 6-year history of the CalSeed program. He'll be the first to tell you he's a little young to be designing life-changing technology.
I guess I feel like right now I'm walking through this like behind a glass pane. I have a feeling like I won't really understand the impact of what I'm doing for years, honestly, because I don't think I've had enough experience to realize the impact, if I'm to be fully honest.
And there's plenty to do. Modulium is still in the design phase. Satay has yet to build a prototype. He'll be taking the next year to do just that, delaying his college admission in hopes of moving on to the second round of the CalSeed program, which comes with nearly $500,000 in funding. But rather than worry about going up against dozens of adults, Satay is appreciative and excited for the challenge ahead.
No matter what direction this grant goes, or this company or project goes, I have a feeling that the experiences I get from this and the understandings I get about people and their problems and how I can help will be really valuable.
Chris Burton, 17 News.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.